recording as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to click the go live button.
Beautiful.
All right. We are live on Facebook, people. And tonight we've got special guests with me. I've got Kanji Low. Kanji Low is a business coach, and I'm not going to tell the story, but Kanji Low is an amazing person, and I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of value out of tonight's conversation. We're going to be talking about how to skyrocket your business, because obviously Kanji's an expert with business, so we're going to dive into that. And we're also going to be talking about service mindset and energy. So it's going to be very interesting. So Kanji, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Pauline. Hi, everyone. How's everyone's night been? From wherever you are in the States, if you're in the US or in Melbourne. We're both in Melbourne, which is beautiful. And yeah, I'm a business coach, mentor. I help entrepreneurs and coaches really scale their business. So a lot of people who I work with are entrepreneurs or coaches that really don't have that traction, or they've been stagnant, or they feel trapped and they want to achieve freedom, and they haven't reached that point where they can be a business owner, like a successful business owner. So I help those coaches and entrepreneurs, and for myself, it's just been an interesting journey, right? You know, honestly, if I were to look back, I've only been doing this for just over a year, and before that, I was in corporate IT. But to bring it back even further, I was doing a Bachelor's of Commerce, and I studied Masters of Finance at Monash University. But it was just so interesting how it's been that shift between now and from back then. So if we were to go back there, you know, I was like always into business. I was always doing side hustles and things like that. During university, I would, you know, go in to sell Air Jordans. If you don't know what Air Jordans are, I used to go up, line up at the Foot Locker, you know, line up on Saturday mornings, and I'd always go there and you know, do the sell and buy with the Air Jordans. And it got to a point where I was just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I love this kind of mentality. My parents as well, they've run businesses before too. So my parents run a restaurant. They've run 3 restaurants up in total so far. And yeah, it was just interesting during 2015, before I got my corporate job, that I fell into this state where I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a purpose, and my mindset was all over the shop. You know, at that time as well, I was quite shy. You know, you probably feel this as well, Pauline, is that whenever we want to do something, we can't do it because we have that fear of judgment or the fear of validation, right? And during that phase, I was just like, well, like, I don't really know what I want to do. And I was like, oh, should I go back to corporate? And then during that phase, I was just like in this lost mentality. And then I got to a point where I was just like, sweet, I really need to do something about this. And, you know, at that time as well, I was helping my parents with their restaurant. And it got to a phase where me and my dad were doing a lot of things. Our relationship was a little bit shaken after that. And then I decided I needed to help him and my mum. So I went to corporate. I got myself a gig at IBM, and I worked there for 5 years. And then during IBM in 2017, something hit me, you know, and this probably resonates to a lot of people that's out there in the corporate world, right? It hit me, and I had this question come up, and it was like, there must be more to life. There must be more to life. There must be more to what I'm doing. I felt like I was in this state where I didn't know what I was doing. I was just working for the sake of working. Don't get me wrong, the people are beautiful at IBM, but I just felt as though that there was more. There was more I can do to serve and impact me instead of being behind a desk job. And you know, during that phase of 2017, I was just seeing other people move. I didn't know anyone at that point where I could also emulate what they're doing, or, you know, get mentors or that kind of thing. And then got to a point in 2019, I invested in myself after doing all these courses, doing all these side hustles. I did SEO marketing, I did language coaching, I did teaching piano. I did a lot of things, but it wasn't really congruent to who I was as a being. And then what happened after that was in 2019 was the game changer for me. I invested in myself, and yeah, during that phase, I was just like, okay, SEO marketing, no, that's not going to work. Language coach, okay, it didn't really work out the way I wanted it. And then it got to business coaching because I've always wanted to do business, and now I could teach others to do business as well. So that's pretty much a nutshell of where I am at the moment. But it's just been beautiful since that, because throughout those whole phases, you realize that you go through it to grow through it. And you probably felt the same too throughout your journey as well, Pauline, right?
Yeah, oh my goodness, I can resonate so much with your journey, even dating back to where it all started for you, like with your parents. Like my parents had three restaurants as well, funnily enough, like very, very business orientated family. And I think it's just more, I don't know if it's the culture or the fact that they've come from like as refugees, and it's just that sort of hustle nature that they have. And obviously that comes down, like, there's a lot of struggles and hardships that comes with that. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of blessings and growth that happens from that as well. So yeah, so absolutely from that. But the amount of change that you've been through, that's also that's incredible. Like, the fact that you've shown, weren't afraid to try different things from the SEO to the language, but where you haven't actually found what really sat for you until you found it. So that's awesome. Yeah, okay. So I want to go into that a little bit more.
Sure.
Since the 2019, you said, I guess, where did it all start in terms of, I know you're like, because you're really passionate about like service, energy and all of that.
Yep.
Where did that sort of all come in from like, I guess, how does it relate to business, and yeah, what is that all about?
Yeah, so when it comes to service mindset, I've always had the type of mentality to always serve. I was, always, everyone does this, right? And you've probably been guilty about this as well, is that whenever we want to do something, it's for financial freedom or it's for money, right? But eventually you find out that you go through it, it's not about that. It's about you growing as a person, you giving back to people who have been in your shoes previously, and those that are sort of lost on their purpose as well. And, it really came to me, like, for the service mindset point of view, back in 2019, just before the shift to 2020. I was just in this constant hustle and grind to get clients. I was just, being that sleazy salesperson, if you want to call it, but it was more like I was trying to hustle, and when you're trying, what happens? You're trying. You're not actually doing it, right? So it got to that point, and then, with the whole energy thing as well, that was just quite recent. Like, I feel in July, that's when I started to delve into energy, delve into how energy works in this world. And if you really understand energy, right? Energy is everything. Energy is, when it's even in the word everything. So with energy, it's like we have this hand right now, and in quantum physics, this hand is also solid, and it can also be, all these firing atoms or subquarks or quarks, right? And when we understand that this hand can actually power like a whole city, if you like got your hand away and then you powered a whole city, you realize how powerful we are as human beings, or as souls having a human body experience. It's like we can generate so much. And it even ties to the whole mindset thing as well, because when you focus on positive thoughts, what happens? You attract more positive things. If you focus on negative things like stress, fear, more of that comes. And it just comes down to the point where energy is such a broad topic, but it's an actual easy topic because it's all around us. It's in life, it's in the background right now. It's, my hair is all energy. And applying that to business, that's really important, because what business people mostly do, and we mentioned that just earlier, is that hustle, the grind, making things work. And when you're making things work, if we look at it from a higher awareness, it means that it's not working, right? So when you prioritize your energy in the morning, when you ground yourself, when you are really centered and you just want to give back, That's the juice. That's the juice of understanding that your energy, if you can maintain that, if you can prioritize that in the morning, you can serve as many people as you can throughout the day, because you're not just filling up your cup, you're filling up other people's cup as well. And then you'd always have that energy transfer as well. And that's through meeting people, building relationships, voice messaging people, doing social posts, even those little things, and like meditation, gym, like anything to do with filling up your own cup will also fill up other people's cups as well. So that's service mindset and energy in a nutshell. And that's how you can apply it to business. We all think that we have to hustle, we have to grind, but you can do little for maximum output, if you want to put it that way.
Right. Oh my God, that's so fascinating. Because when a lot of the things that you're saying with the filling your own cup, that kind of, to me, it sounds like it's almost like the self-love concept as well.
Yes.
Very similar. Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's like you love yourself enough to be able to center yourself and ground yourself, and then you can serve even better. When you're in service, you come from a place of compassion. When you're in service, you come from a place of gratitude, and everything that comes your way, it's just like, oh, you're not the person that you're worried about. Like all the fear and the doubt go out the window, because it's about the other people that you're serving. And bringing that into business, you would definitely change everything. Like even for me, I felt like pricing was such a huge thing, because, obviously, being Asian descent, sometimes we all have that money mentality. And if you understand that money is also energy, right? That you can serve even better. It's not like you're charging your clients for what you're worth or what you think they're worth, but you're charging them for what they're worth. And for me, it's just like a game changer in, impacting and being of service to them, because that's what they want. They want that change. They want the whole transformational change, rather than just the next course here or the strategy here, but they want the whole change. So that's what I feel with service mindset, and applying that to business as well.
Yeah, okay. Because a lot of that, I think there's a lot of money mindset sort of things that people have, whether it's from like growing up or just the way that money is. But it's so fascinating that you've put it into energy, because I think that's one of the things that even Ken Honda, the author or speaker, he talks a lot about that as well, where it's like in this exchange of energy. That's all it is. And that even when I've been doing some research about energy, because I do meditation as well, and in the meditation I learn a lot about consciousness. And they say like, oh, so what is consciousness? What's being pure consciousness, right? But essentially it's just, we're all human beings, but at the core of us is literally energy and information. So that is all that we're kind of exchanging. And that's why I guess even with money concept, or whether it's service, if we think in that concept, then it's just an exchange of the energy and the information. And I suppose when it comes to, I mean, more over the last few years, even like in terms of what you're saying, like self-love, or the whole filling your own cup first, I even find that with investing in yourself, the more that you invest in yourself, or the larger amount of money, for example, it's like you put a lot more energy into it, rather than like you put $1 and you just like put $1 worth. Yeah, I don't know. It's that, that's how 100%. I see it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like when you invest in yourself, you're loving yourself even more, right? And the more you invest, or the more energy you invest in yourself, the more you can actually give back. Because let's put it like this, right? How can you help someone if you haven't gone through it yourself, right? If you're trying to help someone, let's say going through rock bottom, or if you're trying to help someone get from one certain amount of money, maybe 6 figures to like 7 figures, how can you do that if you don't have the understanding, of if you haven't invested in yourself in that aspect to do the same? It's not really about you getting the result, but you having the physical or even the energetic change for you to be able to do the same as well, or even provide the tools for other people to do the same. And that's what I found, that, with energy and applying that to business, it's just powerful that you can put the two together. And then when you actually utilize energy and just like, oh, okay, this is how I can serve better. this is how my clients can get better results, because I can provide the energy, I can provide the tools, I can provide, you know, this pure consciousness, you want to call it, because, you know, it's all pure consciousness. Everything around us is pure consciousness, which is energy. If you can provide that through energy transfer in your one-on-one transformation, you'd be a better coach, you'd be a better consultant, because you're doing it for them. And when you're coming from a place of being selfless, even the Gita even says, like, selflessness is the path to a fulfillment, right? And it's that you lead that path, you lead that sort of selflessness, because you're providing all that energy, you're flowing that energy so that you can help more people. And the more you do it, the more everyone feels you. And even, like, you know, when people say, like, oh, we're vibing together, or you go to the clubs,
I love that one.
then,
Yeah. I always
like,
use
we're
it.
Vibing.
You can feel it though. You can feel it when, like, just whether it's called aura or whatever it is, you know, there's everyone that walks around with a certain presence or an energy, and they don't have to really say anything, but you can feel it. Like, if you are open to that, then definitely, you can feel that vibe.
That's exactly it. Dr. Joe Dispenza, right? He like, I think in the book of Becoming Supernatural, you read the book. So in that one, there's an energy field around you, right? Everyone has an energy field, right? And then we're an energy field in a larger energy field. And when we understand that we can influence people, or we can, you know, influence the energy in the room. And that's why, like, when you go conferences and stuff, you're like, Tony Robbins, like, yeah. And you got, like, other people. Is
massive.
Yeah. It's just that everyone's building that energy together, and then you can, you know, service more people. And it's just that flow. And flow's an interesting concept as well, right? Because flow, when you think of flow, it's like you've got structure, which is discipline, and then you've got chaos, right? But in the middle, and this comes from Stephen Kotler's model, is that flow is in the middle. And when you have flow, it's like you're going downstream and you're on this raft. And when you're going downstream on this raft, you're not paddling fast, right? You're just flowing with the river. You're flowing down the stream.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's flow, right? And when you're flowing energy, when you're flowing in business, sometimes you probably even felt it when you're really productive in something and you're just, like, doing things real quickly, and then it's only an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then the other times we're actually doing the same thing, because maybe you didn't prioritize your energy, you're doing things a little bit longer. And that's how you can tie that to productivity, how you can tie that to business, how you can tie that to servicing clients. And it's everywhere. It's everything. And that's why it's such an amazing topic.
Yeah, because you mentioned about, like, and we spoke about the hustle and grind, and, like, the push as well.
Yes.
So, because those terms are like very popular terms to use.
Yes.
You know, and it makes people, it's more like an egotistic term, where it makes people feel like, like, I'm doing a lot, you know, and I'm grinding and I'm hustling. But we're saying here that we should change that, is it? Like, to being in flow more so.
Yeah. I'll give you this analogy, Pauline. So, and for everyone here. So imagine if there's a fly that's just come into your house, right? And now this fly is just trying to get out the window, but it can't. It just keeps hitting the glass, and it can't get out. It doesn't know how to get out, because, you know, it's always open. You've probably seen it sometimes when flies come into your place. You've got, like, a glass door, a sliding door, and they're trying to get out, but they can't. That's exactly like the hustle and grind. Like, honestly, if you put that into perspective, everyone's just hitting the same thing, hitting the same results, and it's getting some sort of result, but the results come from actually doing less. You can actually prioritize your energy that much that you can do things in flow. Like, for example, I would even go on stories, and then I'll just take one take, like, because I've prioritized my energy in the morning, and I just flow for, you know, like a 60-second, you know, story on Instagram or something like that. Normally, if you weren't prioritizing your energy, you could probably take 2, 3 takes, 5 takes, right? Same thing when you're working with clients, like, you're going through modules, and how you are energetically will be affected to your clients as well. So if you're not feeling right in the day, you can flow that to them, and they also feel the same too. It's like life's a mirror, and it's just a mirror of how you feel and your energy.
Wow. I love that analogy with the mirror, because it is like a lot of the outer world is a reflection of the inner world in terms of like attraction as well. So I'm still getting my head around a lot of concepts, because it can get quite technical with, you know, there's so much to learn with all of that. But definitely in terms of energy, is the way I see it from what you're saying, is like the more energy in, then the more energy out in terms of service. Yeah, probably not the best when it comes to maybe like if you want to lose weight in that instance. Maybe like reduce the energy input and more energy out. But in service, I think that is an excellent analogy. Yeah, awesome. Okay. So in terms of, like you mentioned about the flow, just a little bit more. When you talk about going, was it upstream or downstream?
So going downstream, right? So you can go downstream, but you know that you're going downstream, and then you're paddling for some reason because you feel like you're not going to get there quicker, right?
Yeah.
But you can go down that way, or you can go down just on the raft and you're just going downstream naturally.
Yeah, going with the current.
Yes, going with the current, going with the flow.
Yes. But would you say that sometimes, like there may be a lot of people out there as well who are paddling upstream and they don't even know it, or maybe they haven't found the downstream, so they're like, oh, how do I find the flow? I don't know, like how do I find downstream? Why am I just like, I feel like I'm working so hard and I'm trying so hard to get, you know, whether it's earn money or get a certain result for themselves, but they just don't seem to be getting anywhere. So for someone like you who has been through the changes with the jobs and all of that, like going upstream and then downstream, any advice on like, well, how do they even go about that process?
Yeah, I can give you a simple analogy, right? So look at the mirror. If you're trying, if you're hustling, if you're grinding, and you look in the mirror, what does that mean? That means you're trying, you're grinding, and you're hustling. So you're not going to get there quick. It means that you're always in that constant loop of doing so much, having a lot of action. And when you understand that fundamental principle that you need to either be a new personality or you need to be a certain energy to do certain things. If you think of yourself in like 12 months time, right? You wouldn't be that much of trying and hustling. You'd be that person already. And it just seems easy. It's like athletes, right? They train so much until they get to a certain state, and then everything just seems easy. And it's the same with what you've just mentioned, that question on flow and, you know, people going uphill, is that you need to be a different person. And to become a different person, obviously, you know, studying, learning, understanding yourself, being aware, being conscious, and just building yourself day in, day out so that you get the reps and you get the pre-game, so that when you're in the game, you can flow and just perform as best as you can. So that's what I feel. Yeah.
But then, like, when you look into the mirror and you see as hustle, grind, and the other term that the trying as well.
Trying, yes.
How does one actually recognize that? You know, like, because someone may be feeling like, oh, I'm heaps productive. I do like 14 hours of work a day. And like, look at me, I'm, you know, doing a lot. And I feel like there's heaps of massive actions going on.
Yes.
Where is that kind of point where it's like, oh, I actually realized that maybe I'm just trying too hard, or this is not flow. Do you know what I mean? Like that differentiation factor. How would you even know?
Results, just fundamentally results. If your results aren't showing, you probably know about Bob Proctor's method. So he's got like this little diagram of like thoughts, emotions, actions, and results. When it comes to results, if your results aren't showing the way you are doing things, you got to reassess and go through the whole loop and just reassess which part needs to be done better. Maybe it's your funnel. Maybe it's, you know, reaching out to people. Maybe it's just having a really good conversation, and maybe it's the closing side of things. Maybe it's just serving and impacting in the business, working on the business, whatever it may be, right? That part needs to be checked through your results. So if, let's say that I'm doing something and I'm trying so hard for it, but I don't see the results, that's when you know you're trying, right? It's like a two and like you sort of get it, like you get one apple and then you get another apple. It's like you get the result, and then you know that, oh, I'm actually trying. And that's what I feel people sort of, they have to be conscious to it. They have to be aware to the result that they're getting. If they're not getting results, you know, you can continue to do the action, you can continue to try, you can continue to grind, but that's just going to be you doing more and not getting the same results. But you can get better results for doing less.
Yeah, and a lot of it's to do with the self-awareness as well.
Yes.
As you're going
100%.
through a certain process, because I find like, oh, you know, people say, oh, because these days the generation is instant gratification, right?
Yes.
So everyone wants results, like just snap my fingers, get on my phone, whatever. However, we also know that results take time. So I think it even has to go through a process of time where it's not like, oh, Kanji, you're saying that like we should be getting results over, just do this. I should get the result tomorrow, right? Like, and if I'm not, then I'm hustling. Do you know? Yeah. So it's like, then it has to kind of go through a bit of a stress test where maybe there is a degree, I'm just saying like from what I'm thinking, would there be a degree of like hustle and grind initially? Because if you're saying someone has to go and like do the reps and do all the stuff, the practice before they step into the stadium, right? Or the main event. So would there still be an element of that hustle and grind required to then transition into, I've done it so many times now, or like I've given it a certain amount of period for myself that then now it's flow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So when you're playing a game, right? So whether it's like rugby, you know, AFL, footy, or any sort of game, when you're in flow, you don't force the play. You don't force like, oh, I got to kick the ball, I got to do a mark, or I got to like catch the ball and that kind of thing, right? You'd sort of flow through it. So you make the game happen through you. It's the same when you're going and doing a lot of things. When you're in flow, it happens through you. You don't force the play, right? And then this is where most people get it wrong. It's like, oh yeah, I'm, you know, set my intention, I've done this, I've done that, and then they don't take any action on it. That's the wrong mentality too. You got to take inspired action, right? And if you actually break down inspired action, that's inspiration, because you're inspired to do something, and then this energy flows through you. And it's the same when you're playing the game. You're making the game happen through you, right? You don't think of anything else. You're so present in the moment that it just happens. The play happens, you know, the mark happens, the kick happens. And then when that happens, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm just flowing. And it's the same with dancing. Like you can listen to music, you can either sing, right? Or you can either dance. And then when you're dancing as well, it's like that flow. You don't even, like, I can even do this, right? But like, you don't have to do it in a certain way. You don't have to like try to dance or try to sing. You just flow with it, right? And it's exactly the same with, you know, just movement.
You just connect. You're connected with whatever, whether it's like a purpose or the task itself. Rather than maybe the I don't know, like the process or something.
So you're connected to what you envision the process will be at the end. So like the end goal, right? And you're just flowing that, and you're not even worrying about the how. Like the how will come to you. The how is like a, you know, heat-seeking missile, right? It will just come to you if you know what you want to do. If you know, like, just you're going to take action on that particular task, and you just flow that through, the how will come to you. You'll get like inspirations or downloads, right? That you just simply flow through that. So I found for myself, it's just that whenever I'm doing something, having the right energy and having an intention with that energy and just taking inspired action, I find things so easy. I just find things in flow. I find things that I don't really need to force to happen, and I don't need to really like hustle in a sense. Hustle has got like a little bit of a connotation as well. I think a lot of people think the hustle is just like, I got to make things work. I got to, you know, 24/7, you know, entrepreneurship is this and this, but you can do much more with less. And, you know, it's not like saying you don't do anything at all. You're just doing things that is more productive. You're taking that time back for yourself to prioritize yourself, to do things in productivity blocks, or doing things to
working smarter rather than harder.
Exactly. And that's essentially it. Just working much smarter than what you are.
And there probably needs to be some kind of exposure to that, whether it's culture or environment, where I mean, like otherwise you wouldn't be able to differentiate. Like, what is the, like, where are you with flow versus hustle? Because like when we're talking about the hustle, I guess for myself and you, we have been exposed to like our parents' generation where, you know, like they don't have a choice. It's survival mode. They are just working hard. That is like the essence, right, of how you actually get by in this world. But I guess like now that we do have the luxuries and we have access to all of these resources as well, that in our generation, or with the opportunities we have to learn or to embrace working smarter and being productive, maybe doing less, because now we have so much as well. So this can be quite chaotic and overwhelming too.
Yes. And it comes back to that model of like chaos and discipline and structure, and then having the middle ground, which you need to redefine every single time to get that flow, right? And what you said was beautiful, because we've been programmed from our parents, from our grandparents, that we need to work hard to do something. We need to put more effort into something to get a result. It's just that whole programming that we've been brought up in that's affecting everyone to be like, oh yeah, hustle, hustle. But it's like you can do much more with less through productivity, understanding what is smarter, and you know what sort of steps will work in this state. And what is your vision? Like if you have like a grand vision in 10 years, let's say you want to, you know, impact 1 billion people, you know, serve 1 billion people, like having those sorts of grand goals and you're inspired to take action on that, it doesn't really matter about the small steps. You'll just flow that way, and you'll dance with the music, right? Instead of just like, oh,
I love dancing.
Yeah.
So I'd actually want to touch on this really interesting thing you mentioned before, just to link it all in as well. There are people out there who, like, they are hustling, you know, because they have to. They're in survival mode, and they're like, look, Kanji and Pauline, you know, it's great what you're saying about energy. Yeah, get that. But by the end of the day, I work so hard and I study so much, or whatever it is they're doing. I've got families, all that stuff to worry about. I don't have energy. Like, I don't have motivation. I don't have time or space to even think about myself.
Okay.
So then how do I go and get energy? What do you like? How am I going to get motivated? Right?
Yeah. Think of it this way. Like if you have kids, or if you have, you know, other priorities, you got family, you've got a busy schedule, the best thing, it all comes to that self-love. The best thing that you can actually do is to prioritize your energy. You know, you're filling your own cup first, and then you can serve other people. By you not showing up, by you not prioritizing your energy, you know, how many people within your circle are getting the worst out of you, not the greatest version of you, right? If you're like, oh, like for example, if I didn't prioritize my energy and I was like 50% battery, right? Like Kanji wise, right? People would get 50% of Kanji, not 100% of Kanji. Like they wouldn't get the true essence of who I am. And in prioritizing your own energy, and this is for everyone that's in that survival mentality, it's like you gotta face what you're facing, but then at the same time you gotta be that person to fill up your tank, and then you can move that way. You know, obviously these things do happen, right? You've got like your work, uni, you've got everything that's going on with your life. But the best thing you can do is just maybe not even like 30 minutes, you know, just do a solid meditation of gratitude, or maybe just appreciation or love. And you just ground yourself enough to be able to look after you so that you can look after other people as well. And I feel like whoever's, you know, still questioning like family, I've got kids and that kind of thing, who are you doing it for? Are you doing what you're doing for you, or are you doing it for them? Are you doing it for the people that are around you? Right? And that's what I would ask them, because if you're doing it for them and you're coming from a place of service, it doesn't matter what's going to happen in your life. You can make that time. You can prioritize your own energy so that you can provide to them. So that's what I would ask them.
Yeah. I'm going to add there as well, one of the things I love saying all the time is everyone got to think about when you're on the airplane, you know, remember the oxygen mask falls, got to put your oxygen mask on before you put it on your children as well. So even if it means 5 minutes a day, literally, have that time for yourself, or, you know, you have breaks as well, take a shower, wherever that you are doing, whenever you are by yourself, then that maybe is a time that to really, you know, maybe whether it's letting go of the thoughts that you have, or just really sitting with yourself and getting that time in.
Yeah, 100%. There's always these white spaces, I would call them, where you can actually use that time to be with yourself. You know, when you're driving, maybe you can listen to podcasts, or when you're at the gym, you can listen to some nice jazz or some hip hop music, and you got all these white space areas in your whole day. We've got 24 hours. It's just that you're prioritizing and using that time wisely to center yourself, to give yourself that energy. So yeah, 100%. I love that analogy with the oxygen mask. That's a gold one. I'll keep that in mind next time.
Yeah, it's golden. But yeah, so I guess the main message here is self-awareness again. You know, you need to know what works for you. Like, where is the white spaces? Like for mothers out there, for example, when your kid has a nap during the day, you know, they nap for 20 minutes, you've got some time. So yeah, there's always time. It's a matter of whether you're aware of it, and where are you prioritizing that as well. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, cool. And lastly as well, you touched on a really fascinating point before about having to maybe transform into a new personality potentially. Yeah. So that's a big one, because as personality, we're all born with, you know, a blueprint, and we develop our personality over time. And for some people, maybe it doesn't change as much as others. So some people it's a choice, for others they're not aware. So wondering from you, so what does it mean, like from, maybe even talk about even from your own personal experience, from where you were a few years back, like 2017, before that as well, how I guess, how did you sort of go to change the personality, or how does someone develop the new one? Yeah, can you expand on that?
Okay, yeah, sweet. I'll bring it back to my experience. I made a decision in myself back then that there was something more to life and that I need to change. When you decide, the universe decides, right? So in making that decision for yourself and realizing that this reality that you're in right now, this paradigm, you know, your paradigm is like your set of behaviors and habits, right? When you realize that your paradigm and your reality needs to shift, and that you're seeing the same thing all over the time, like pretty much like, oh, maybe you're seeing certain friends, or you're not really happy with where you are at the moment. Having that self-awareness and making that decision for yourself, that is when you can shift your personality. And I realized, like, just doing the reading, you know, I read a lot of books. I do, you know, listen to a lot of podcasts. I, you know, go on YouTube. I need to study up on something. That shifted for me in 2017. That's when my self-development journey happened. And then when you start going through that whole journey of learning more about yourself, learning more about the world, learning more about like what more things are out there. Maybe it's like, you know, something to do with like improving your business. Like, I love the Lean Startup Method by Eric Ries. You know, things like that. Things about like consciousness. Joe Dispenza. When you start reading up on these things, and then you realize like, oh, this old person was not that person, and then you gain all this new awareness, and it's like the awareness now is like, it was a dot and now it's like a big circle, and you're just getting and you're just expanding on it now. I found that when I embodied a new person, or a new alter ego, if you want to call it, everything started happening for me. So I was the business person before I became a business person. I was a business coach before I became a business coach. I was a lot of people say that you need to have $1 million before you become a millionaire. But if you think of it from a energy perspective, like, you know, being a millionaire is just having, you know, the $1 million energy, or the $1 million frequency, right? Just having that energy with you. A lot of people, when they look at nice cars and stuff, they don't look at the car, they look at the person inside the car, because there's an energy thing, right? And I found that when I changed who I was to the core, and, you know, the qualities that I had that weren't serving me. For example, in 2017, I was shy. I was not confident. I didn't know my purpose. I was just all over the shop. I was overthinking. I was at analysis by paralysis. I identified all of them, and then I went to myself like, who is this person? Like, and it's always not like, it's always a constant process. I wouldn't say it's like you find who you are and then you just leave it there, but you just constantly be a new person every time. It's like I don't know, you're shedding skin, or you're shedding like these layers from you. You're just becoming a new person. Yes, like an onion. And you're just shedding those layers like an onion, and you're becoming a new person every single time. You're redefining yourself. And I found that, you know, even this year and last year, it's just like being that business coach really helped me. You know, Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it perfectly. When you change your personality, you change your personal reality. And if you put it to an energetic level, when you change your energy, you change your reality, or you change your life, right? So I feel as though that, yeah, it's just like that constant evolution. And, you know, us as human beings, we always want growth. Growth is a constant thing. And it's just like, we're always going to grow. And if we feel stagnant in a little bit of an area, like whether it's, I don't know, like relationships, you know, business, or, you know, just maybe with, you know, life in general, your personal development, there's always areas that you feel like you need to grow. And once you realize that with your awareness, you just like take those actions, you take that inspired action. So yeah, that's pretty much that personality thing in a nutshell. But it's just like, you got to be that person, and you be before you are, and then you will become.
So there is a phrase that's come to mind, and that is that a lot of people think that you have to, I think it's the right one, that you have to, I think it's have, let me get this right.
Yep.
So what I'm thinking about, you've probably heard this before, is the concept of be, do, have.
Yes, be, do, have, yep.
But I think that generally people think it's the other way around, right?
Correct.
That's what I'm trying to get at. So
yes,
they think that they need to have confidence to then be able to do the things they want, to then be able to be that confident person.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah. So that's it. Yep. But in actual fact, what you're saying, which ties into Joe Dispenza and all of this energy work,
yep.
Is that we've already got to be that person. You're not going to have the confidence unless you already are the confidence to then do the actions, the inspired actions, to then have it. The results. Yes. The results.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I've heard be, do, have, and it's, people got it back to front. People think that you have to have it first, then you do it, then you become it. But no, it's you be it first. You do the actions based on your personality or your energy, and then you have it. Then you have whatever you see, right?
So maybe we put it into context. So like, let's say that, I mean, a bit far-fetched, but let's put it out there. So if you want to be $1 million man or woman, for example,
yes, yep,
it's not that you have to have the $1 million to then go and do the work, to then go and be the millionaire.
Yes.
You've already got to believe and be the millionaire person to then do the work, to then have the millionaire lifestyle.
There we go. You got it.
Yes, nailed it.
Nailed it. That's exactly it. Yeah. It's kind of like we've been taught a different way. Like school's an issue too, right? So school has always taught us we need to have something first. We need to, you know, do certain things, study certain things to have a result, or just regurgitate that. I feel like that's come through that. I think, you know, just maybe the environment as well, that we have to see something before we actually be that person. But yeah, like you said, be, do, have. You be it, you do it, you have it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. All right. I think that that's we've jam-packed this conversation full of wisdom. So gonna have to go and marinate on all of this. Everyone out there, just, you know, rewatch the video a few times if you need to. Tell us a little bit, I guess, towards the end now. Tell us a little bit about like what you do in terms of the work that you do.
Yeah, beautiful. So I do one-on-one coaching as a business mentor and a coach. But there's also this self-development platform that I've partnered with called Accelerate Online. It's in my bio as well. What we're doing is we're actually revolutionizing the self-development space. There's these, how would I put it? Like a lot of coaches, what they tend to do is they have the general service-based offering where they're just like, oh, you know, you got your offer. You go through a funnel, you go do the offer, and then you get the results for the client, and the clients just come through, right? What we found is that, you know, to really change up this game of coaching and just the whole self-development space is that, you know, there's all these new technologies that's out there. There's like VR, there's wearables, and, you know, just understanding that this can all be done through an app as well. We're revolutionizing that. So I've partnered with them. I work, you know, with them alongside them. So I do my one-on-one coaching, and then I also do that as well. But whoever works with me, it's just more like, you know, what is it that they want? What is it that you want? Because the result or whatever that you want is just priceless to whoever the client is. You know, if they want a certain revenue amount, like I can get them the result. If they want a certain amount of change within themselves internally, which you can get them result, you know, that's also can be done as well. You know, I've also can help people charge 25K for their services. I've done that myself. So it's just that constant evolution of just like, oh yeah, I can help people through that aspect. And Accelerate Online as well, which is like, yeah, it's just beautiful that, you know, everyone can get on board this movement. It is not just like, oh, you know, you go through the movement and, you know, that's it. You know, you don't have that support there. You go through the platform, then there's other ways that you can further develop yourself. And yeah, it's just beautiful that, you know, I can serve this back to everyone, serve my energy through my one-on-one again. And yeah, that's what I do in a nutshell through business coaching, mentoring, Pauline.
Yeah, awesome. Kanji, you should drop maybe a link or something, whether it's about the platform or
Yes.
your own one-on-one. I think that'd be valuable for people who are interested in their comments. Also, any questions, anyone, just drop them in the comments. We'll get back to you on that. And finally, if anyone wants to, I guess, find out or speak to you directly, where is best to find you?
So I've got Instagram, so kanji.low on Instagram or kanji.low on Facebook. And yeah, you just message me. I'm pretty open to having a chat with you. And yeah, if we talk, it's just like, I want to really, how do I say it? Like, just give you the opportunity to speak and help you get to where you want to go. I'm more about people's person, service-based, energy-based. But yeah, just really enjoyed this chat, Pauline. It's just such a beautiful flow.
It's been very downstream today.
Yes, I love it.
We're just paddling along, but yeah, it's been very impactful for me as well. I learned quite a lot from you. So yeah, let's continue to spread the love. And yeah, anyone wants to find out about mindset and all of that transformation, I am that person as well. So reach out. I'm always posting content, same with Kanji. So if there's anything you resonate with or have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments or just reach out to us directly.
Yep. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Catch you soon.
Okay. Bye. Nice to talk to you. Bye.